Hello? Hello? So this is the article in question. Welcome again to Ace Attorney, Chronicles. So we get hold of the small box deposited in the pawnbroker by Mr. McGill 2 months ago. It appears to be different than I imagined. On the night of the Mr. Windybank's murder, the only item on the shelf that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, let's open it to see what's inside. It's probably empty. Must be empty. Is that a robotic cock? Yeah. I don't know what it is. Could be literally anything. You're gracious, it is no ordinary box, it seems. It's a puzzle. Well, although, in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. We put a bit of movement. We appear at the box house as miniature music box movement. Oh. That is too much to expect. I think it will be reasonable to assume that these are devices for the playback of this disc, my lord. So here we have it, and the means to play back Mr. Nikolai deposited Win's box much at the same time. No strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc, it was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. Why, for the heaven's sake? We can say the brick maker was trying to sell his music box to disc to Mr. McGilded? Anyone worth to kill for? But the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on this disc, my lord. Okay, very well. We could listen to the curious disc, right? Wait, my lord! Good grief! What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The Miss Monster and the disc are, they are related to the case. No need to spoil the sober atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. These discs may very well have demotivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly there is a very chance that it is fundamentally important to understand what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, the piece of evidence is police property, you can't... Clearly Scotland Yard has some vast interest in here. But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. No further delay, please play the disc. Was a Morse code. What on earth? That's certainly not what I called music. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Greyhound? Greyhound? This is really priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised. If the officer sent to the factory didn't drop into the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that these music boxes offer little in the way of clues. I feel like it's Morse code. Are you ready to move on, Counsel? Come on. Yes, alright, that sound looked hardly completely broken, but is it? Could be a clue. I believe that it could be irrelevant, my lord. Oh lord, but how it can be? An abomination, Counsel. Mere noise is failed to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. That sounds strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. while Greydown stands there, chortling victoriously. The spectre beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. As if Gregson recognized the sound, as if he is familiar with it somehow. That's making him appear extremely on edge. If that the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh. I don't know the Morse code, so don't look at me. I was trying to understand what letter was the first two. I don't know. I think as a number. What was the relevance to do you propose this Volkschining has on this case? Is the defense believe that the sounds emanating from this music box is not supposed to be music? Just because this music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. I already figured out. Look at that, the smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. On the right lines here, must be. Make a deduction based on how people react to what you say. You're acting like her, you know? The sound we are hearing aren't unnecessary music. Well, now that you told us what they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Oh, well, I'm surely aware that Naruhodo doesn't know what is Morse code, so I don't know what he's gonna say. Surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be death of your ill-informed argument. I accept that the music box is clearly broken. If you see to accept that, it's pure foolishness. Dear God, I don't know what to answer this yet. Bruno? I just examined the music box very truly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? Really, the way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Ayers. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, must mean the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be that is what the sounds are? Oh my god, it took you a while. Something just struck me, Bruno. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one in this box makes. Yeah, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the fans for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this box is not, in fact, a music at all, then what the devil it is, Counsel? All evidence we've seen so far, all testimony we've heard, is pointing to a single answer now. One single answer. The prosecution demands that my learning buddy's friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation? Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And I'm even going, I'm going to join two dots together. I'm going. Evidence explained this disc. Alright, we cannot do that. Oh, hopeful. But tomorrow headline will be discharged. I don't have to go do that. Something like that is possible, like going even bigger. Bigger? How? For a big pocket protects planet post-trial, perhaps. Protects planet? Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great. Is there anything here? There's a sensational story lower down to the front page as well. Ministry Mall. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. 10-year-old. It certainly has a finger on the pulse of world news. It's about safer communication between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by a hostile nation. Communication are being intercepted? How would somebody be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? How with the 3 different possible methods so far. You're looking for a new career, you know? No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what the Lord Strongword was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be. And it could explain why he was gradually running from pillar to post at the moment. Today's paper, Council. The headline is Pawnbroker Parish. Pigpers blunder hardly supporting over your case. Oh, no, my lord. I was going like a little bit further down the page. Further down? Ministry Mall. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I've heard that international transmission along supposedly secure lines have somehow been intercepted. Now leaked to various other countries. And presumably those transmissions are in the form of wire telegrams. Of course. Curious number 5, your input please. Stop, what, me, sir? What is the matter? You told the call before you work at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. The particular station where you work deals with government communication, newspaper reports. Oh, yes, we are not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, it's not very familiar sound, huh? You don't mean to say it is... That's right, madam. Bears more than past resemblance to the sound made by telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it! Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communication officer. Are you suggesting that music box disc is contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order, please everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council. This will be a capital punishment. So much new vocabulary. What is treason? What is capital punishment? The sort of words I expect you to know. For our sovereign government confidential information, hostile nation will surely pay almost any price. Yes, I know that night 2 months ago. That was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. And then the McGarded perished, an all-important display and claiming a pawnbrokery. My word. Which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were being to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded will incriminate him too much if he got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've stolen government secrets? Preposterous, absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been plotting away. Then by all means counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness to testify in response to the accusation brought by the defense. The light, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbeck, that being the most flagellous offence for which the law of this land sanctioned a capital punishment. But he is offered high treason is no less serious of a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind that as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may. Hi. You got a lazy save arrive at a poor care governor. Got things to say. Wait, what? I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name is Nash Skulking. Occupation is a facial body. Facial body? Was his voice? He actually say hold it? Name is Ringo Skulking, but the body is enough to sell out on Merverland. That's right, we're not a call. The three Skulking in Belarus. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. What was that? So I think they're going to sell him out because they're against the fact of selling their own country. American communication officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sound produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. Was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway? Was it not? I have no relation to that man. Look, all we've done is break into the capital the other night like we told you so to do. If we know there was dodgy government secret involved, we wouldn't even touched it. Wait, what? Mr. Skulking? Oh, Mr. the Governor, what's up? I take it that you now meet a crime. That on the night in question, you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally. And moreover, you did so of a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon, yeah. We did, Goff, we did! So they'll sold him out. Quiet down, please. What to say you that, my Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these 2 references are referring to. You little rotter getting us mixed up with all this monkey business. Never said nothing about Governor's secret, who is supposed to be a straight-up chap. What about the geezer who that shabby was, huh? Poor bloke didn't have to die, did he? Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say is underneath the accusation. Indeed. Well, he certainly wasn't expecting his little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit to the court record as evidence.
Hold it!
So in this newspaper headline accurate, government communication are being intercepted. How could I possibly know? Oh. What do you mean by that? Any important government communication are hardly by high-level officer by specialists. General member of staff. The station where I work will never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Wait, what? Let me guess. You're number 5. The regular communication station office aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry. Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. So you had access to equipment used for this confidential communication, Mr. Graydon? Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors so they can't be heard. In any case, all messages are sent enciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with Ministry, Technician and the Ministry Communication team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communication. And he received the top prize of Cyber Cracking Convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. They give me so much information about he is. I feel like he's getting really annoyed by that. Graydon is highly skilled operator, stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Well, your idol will appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. You should really pick her idols more carefully. I'll tell you, these lawyer accusations are completely unfounded. Just look at Gregson very quickly. So we know he has...
Hold it!
He has like the capability to do it. Anyway, they are not. To anyone with a brain, that will be bluntly apparent on listening on the music box for even a few seconds. Can she confirm her? Of course, of course! Surely it can be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. Ha 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 ha, damn you. I'll be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court. Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a dash. By combining those 2 different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A. Yep. B. Okay. When you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear 1 tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar to rhythm. It is the same in everything. There's no discernible meaning to these apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No. Really shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersion in future. Stop, nothing to say but stop. Stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Yes, I mean, if the government's secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things will slot into place so nicely. There'd still be something I haven't considered. It'd really be possible to use this box somehow play back Morse code. Give it a try. Why not? Let's see how it goes. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. Let's believe that the answer at least. Does it please you in some way, manipulating his friend, to repeat the same line, Wagner and infinitum? I don't know. You tell me. You keep drinking with the fucking bottle of wine. It's already been established that to beat Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yeah. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Then what? Well, it will appear that the fans have a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, Counselor. How do you propose that this music box, which appears there is only a single tone, could have been used to cipher a secret message into Morse code? Oh, what is it, Bruno? I have just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom open up as well. Oh, you're right. Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Let's open it. Alright, here it goes. Aha! Look at the way another movement on the underside. Oh, so this is why he was looking for 2 discs. So does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. And it looks like the 2 movements are linked together. They are linked? So if you had 2 discs, they will both play back at the same time. Oh ho ho! Oh ho ho!
Got it!
Percent. Good gracious, what I'm looking at here! Another movement on the other side of music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the 2 movements are linked together. In other words, you can put 2 discs in this music box. The sound of both will play at the same time. Good heavens! And the court has heard Morse code to compromise of 2 tones, short and long. You can actually just make it with a single sound, if I'm not wrong. Well, sound? Tone? Does it make sense? It's just a longer sound. So it's like saying, yeah, 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 yeah. It's still Morse code, if I'm not wrong. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse of a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. But of course, if my learned friend were able to present a code with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court what else the witness has pointed out? He was not one of the omnibus which were killed 2 months ago, striking a deal over the discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Manson, the big maker. Exactly, had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though he has a whole, so I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Rita and the victim of wrongdoing in this case must be there somewhere. I haven't found it yet. Oh yeah, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, you know? If you say so, Iris. You reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Oh, we're discovering more and more and more stuff about you. So 2 months ago in the omnibus, Mr. McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Manson was a single man with almost nothing to his name. Seemed he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember a little about him. It doesn't make much sense though, does it? How could a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? So that... how indeed, they asked him to make it. But he realized that it was weird, because it was not music. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scene in all this. So they acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with Mr. McGilded and negotiate a deal. Yeah, me. You may have anything for me, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communication officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. If only. If only. Hold it! If only. Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it? Yeah, who else? Silly me thought it was a shop poppy over and netter after all them years, but the rotter has a dodgy job for us. Yes. Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulking. After all them years, you say? You mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? You are such a kind of buddies, eh? Sure, let's say Graydon an old China. Let's say Graydon is an old China? What the hell is an old China? Excuse me! It's an old China. Something wrong, Mr. Skulking? Eh? No, the other Mr. Skulking. What? Me? When my brother was testifying, when your brother, my brother, he would say something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a life together way back then. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, we wish. I mean, we all look him on us fancy we still afloat, and you would have them and leave it. Even when I was younger, I was from a poor part of the town just like this. Isn't that so? It was always leery one. The brains and the service. Always coming out with my ears like I will never have a gun through our heads. God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember a Malvertin and Skulkir's Mirkring? It was Corkery. What? 7 and a half after the trial. Your emission has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, there, Jesus asked us a question, didn't he? We was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our intention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. That is sentimental. Kill that sentimental story somehow. Add it! Always add it. Yes, Counsel? The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information related to this case, does it? Very well, Counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with the detail briefly I asked them to add. Briefly. Ahoy! Say no more, skulking, never skulking. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that one? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme that I had going back when we was young, sappy and fun, really? Really? Delivering fresh meal to the lockers, that's what it was all about. What? That sounds a lot more legitimate. There must be a catch. Well, since we are here, I should ask, business name. Please tell me the business name. Business was just a bit of fun, you say? It was just yourself and me, Mr. Graydon involved. Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk, was it? I think it's... Huh? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton power come from? Oh right, I thought the clever clocks like you'd ever worked out that one, but that is Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this dribble? I don't. Let me guess, you don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is that it was only that mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... It wasn't the happiest of homes that one come from. Yeah, well, interesting that he regenerates after a while. Yeah, the old man who is struggling for money as much as his wife without him regenerates. She took the name Graydon, then she? She will always be a Milverton to us. Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Does it sound familiar? Of course not, it's all a buckham. I've been a Graydon since I was born. You really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves, huh? A communication officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been truly checked at the time of your appointment. It will be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Ugh. Well, it will appear that Mr. and Mrs. Cooking testimony has been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Is that familiar? Is that familiar? Did I people? Let me check on people, just quickly. Milverton. No, there's none. Sound familiar, I don't know why. Is that correct? Very well. Yes. So Ashley Graydon was Ashley Milverton. The information could change things, could turn out extremely important. Ashley Graydon! Upgrade! All of a sudden we seem to be up our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all these talk about deception or secret government, the message still just conjecture at this stage. It will explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? Negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago at a break-in at the window. Well, the trouble is, wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilbert? No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker, who was so horribly murdered. If only there was a link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon testimony seemed to be a watertight as 7. What if the key of making headway with the cross-examination? But there's 2 brothers. I want to check something. Yeah, Mason Milverton, there it is. I remember. Tales victim, Mason Milverton, well, brickmaker.
Objection!
Aha. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by the name for years, and it means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from an omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we know understand, who have been negotiating with Mr. McGildet. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say Saint alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, it is not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father. I don't. As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been truly checked when you join the civil service, and if you really will take no time to hold the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been legally acquiring highly confidential governmental information and selling it to Miguel McGildet in collaboration with your father. Ah. Pirouette. And the real first evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in your legal dealings with Magnus McGildet. But into of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, still information being sent in secret government communication and suddenly on to Mr. McGilded. Master Graydon concocted his elaborate scheme of using 2 music boxes, this to encode information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. A very effective one. But the deal with McGilded went sour and the brickmaker met his hand. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, he appeared at the Windy Banks 2 days ago. In an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police and the other never found. So that same night, he enlisted the help of the Skulking brothers and broke into the pawnbroker. This time, determined to recover the second disc. You suggested the second disc was inside the music box? Huh? We never knew nothing of that, eh? Denied that Mr. Windybank was killed. So he managed to get hold of the second disc. Makes sense because they move it. Since they move it, they touch it. They traveled an item alone, the music box. So they left the music box, but they took the disc. So the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was only one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. If it were to fall into the hands of the police, it will be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. He's bleeding. Sir? There appears to be blood seeping through the sleeves of your jacket. What? 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Widdybank's punk porkery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholm's waist. And the final bullet. I think it's the first bullet. Struck the calendar of the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm you seem to be trying to hide is a bullet wound, isn't it? Hey, God, yeah, no, more China. Time to call it quits a croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence here under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? And I pay you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust someone. Common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in the Widdybanks that night. I paid these pair 10 guineas to accompany me, and you'll notice I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that's all. I'll mean nothing more. Stealing government secrets? Negotiating with Mr. McGilded? How can you still move? As God is my witness, I'm sure recall nothing of the sort. How can you still move, boy? I'm gonna take a quick sip. He's not going to go down without a fight, not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact, which is, well, we know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulking brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholm's waist. The bullet from the Mr. Windybank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon undone. Indeed, I must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. Well, like, damn it. At least that's the only one conclusion. Mr. Windybank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. Because they didn't have the gun. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank that night is you. Because they never found the gun.
Hold it!
Right? Hold it! You little upstart. Yeah, me great mistake when you summoned me here. Well, what that's supposed to mean? Yes, you rightly say I was there at the pawnbrokers. Did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I built for myself at a communication station. But a deed thought never crossed your mind, you know, never considered the possibility. What? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I witnessed the crucial moment. You see? This makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw at that very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what? Okay, this is really hard to believe at this point. Order, order, order. Well, it will seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Theatrical. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are full aware of the implication here. It is shown that your claim is false. You will have incriminating yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. Will you explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defender allegedly shot the victim? Nothing will give me a greater pleasure. Signor that he smooshed this part. We are terrible. We are bad people. we only found mistakes. Gamer only found mistakes in the game. The moment of the shooting. While the ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When we went through Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peepee hole of the door, though. Peepee hole? The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee. The accused in a black coat. Black coat? I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peepee hole, so I picked it up and I made my escape. Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. There's so many contradictions in it. You claim, sir, on the road to have clearly seen the defender pulling the trigger. There's so many holes in what he said. Throw the gun outside the peepee hole? Why? Order, order, order. It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither it is my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. You see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth, now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of those details. Yes, well, sorry about that. He shot me in the arm. The pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. She was not covered in anything. He said the blood spattered on the accused's coat. Are you so sure on that point? Oh yes, I'm sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestige of blood, there will be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? So, she is covered in blood. Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's the true science, not some amateurish detective dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Harry's work. His ideas are all sound. And he has no use to us here in science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship permission. YOLO. We could shatter a vestige of doubt within minutes. He doesn't look good, Runa. Why not? Well, we know, don't we? There's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. If they test if they are chemicals. Oh, help me. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. She went to fire. That is not a gunshot. I'm going to shoot. Ew. There's too much blood on it. Exploded. But that's not Mr. Winnibag's blood that stained in front of months ago. That Mr. Mason's blood, but from we stabbed by Miguel that was wearing the coat of the night. My lord, the defense object of the task proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Combat Sisk, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we wait the result, the defense may proceed with cross-examination. Once they find the blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel? Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination? Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, if I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Mr. Winnibag emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when they suddenly appeared and flew at him. Harry had a revolver in his hands. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we were just, regular mild-mannered burglars. That's all. We don't like violence. So he's apparently carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance of the shop? I was at the doorway running my eyes over the shelves of forbidden items. And for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Rigo joined in, making it 2 against 1. So I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to elderly brave, but the old Jesus chucked me over a blooming counter. So I pulled him a gun on the old fella and I submitted and scrapper. The pair of you setting up on the port vessel's boat broke together. Shame on you. Sorry, Cub. Sorry, Cub.
Hold it!
You mean there's a moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were bawling. It was exactly the moment that it happened. I didn't hear the gunshot. The bullet went up to strike the calendar wall behind you. So it will appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. As I couldn't explain what happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine I will still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Winnibag intend to shoot you, do you think? Well, now I don't imagine he even noticed it was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally anyway. He didn't quite strike home. When I pulled me a gun at me, I tried to shove him out of the way. Then just grab a through door out the back. At which point, what did you do?
Hold it!
I pursued the man. You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back to the shop. What about the peepee hole in the door you mentioned? The peepee hole? Well, I'm surprised that the storeroom door is a solid charm with a stout wood. Well, there's more opening about high side, lets you see what's there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? Looked through it myself that night. Peepee hole. What about you burgling brothers? Do you see what I went through this peepee hole as well? No likely, Gov. Let me say nothing sort of cover. I doubt these 2 buffoons were even aware of the peepee hole existence. The Scotland brothers were there, but they didn't see the killer of Mr. Winnibag take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there. The defendant? Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next?
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defender was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Winnibag's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And while we already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. But no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Winnibag's gun grazed my arm. Yes, the skulking gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely. A tear gun. A tear gun! The broker's gun was not a murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a tear fire involved. In other words, the accused must have had their own gun at the time. But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, Constable. Sorry? You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl staring at each other, but then all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at the moment the little gutter rat shot him to the back. A chilling image, I must say. It's very hard to believe at this point. I saw the blood spatter all over. But the problem is that, okay, you shot him, right? Why the fuck you have to throw the gun outside the peepee hole? He must have saw you at that point. At that point, she should have shoot you too. Assuming, I don't know. And why the fuck you have to take the gun? Just leave it there. All over here? Yes, through the peepee hole, I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now. Well, with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, the garment is soiled with the victim's blood. Well, it's soiled with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Winnibag's blood, is it? No, that's right, Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from the McNick that stabbed at him 2 months ago. So it's so annoying if they only accept early chemical analysis, it will prove that. But there was, so unfortunately, we can use it as evidence to support our case. Bother.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? Why? That's right, after Broca fell on the floor, she started walking over. Over where exactly? The direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peepee hole onto the floor on my side of the door. But why on earth she will do that? I could not tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. Suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedy took place. That sounds so fucking... So it was you in fact who took the third gun to the scene of the crime. Yes, it was yours truly. I left to clear up Lecky had left. Yeah, huh? We made a bit of a mess around the counter and saw Mr. Whistle and Flew that told us to die today. He thinks they're a blummy mum sometimes. I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, why you left the Pawn Brokery that night? Was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket?
You little toe rag!
I'm like a bowl of cake, aren't you? Wait, what? What was that?
Excuse me!
What the hell? Gentlemen? Ha 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 ha. Huh? Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be on the line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulking. Blimey, this is a bit of a hooligan, ain't it? Hooligan? What was just going on now? Yes, I am! It grabbed me whistle. Why the blaze, I say, didn't you mention Turgan when we got you down to the station? Didn't you? Cause we didn't know nothing about it! Flaming people in the door! Sorry about that. Can be prone to losing my rag sometimes, not hurt you, are you? God blimey, see the way I was looking at me? Tell you this gives me a willies. Oh, that was strange. This Petter doesn't normally get quite a workable as that. He normally grabs someone. No, that wasn't like Gretzky at all. He's normally all sweet and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. You're a special case, like Alex. But anyway, that was definitely out of character. My lord, we found blood. Request your lordship permission to interrupt the cross-examination. We found bloody blood. Explain yourself, officer. The result of the test was ordered earlier, my lord. My lord. And the blood on the accused's overcoat. It's full of it. Thank you, officer. Very well, the cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. Presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. For the extent of the stains, it will appear that they were a result of a spattering following of a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness. Gunshot? That was a stab. Let's see. What did it tell you? No, the blood on the coat is not Mr. Windybank. What on earth makes you say that, counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windybank's, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton, so the blood of the overcoat is the blood of the ring maker from the case. Well, the dad cannot speak. Isn't that right, Manipanese friend? Sorry? Some months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for Mr. Milgilded's innocence? And yet, now that man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shows any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. But what was? Cause a boy, disgrace, treachery, there what is? How do you tell me whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? A stethoscope can help the answer to that problem pop up. Cannot be done. But use Mr. Shaw specially. Mr. Shaw is a detective, not a chemist. You put off such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communication officer. I hold out Piroski to starving boy. He ran away crying. What? What is a Piroski? Sherlock Holmes is barely more than a figment of the public imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet, indeed. Victory! This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from the start to finish. How do you arrive at such conclusions, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was spotted with blood of the victim. No way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that fact as he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Ah! My lord! The long battles is one, but his old warehouse has something to say now, if you please. So you're gonna guilty? Mr. Foreman? As for this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, man? All for one now. Guilty. Yes, sire.
Guilty.
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 Well, we appear to ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached an unanimous verdict. It appears so. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness testimony. Here's to any attempt you make back at unpicking the juror's decision being equally successful. Awuga. I don't believe it. How shall I come so far? It's all unraveling on me so fast. How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Is that Sherlock's? Holmes? Well, you agree, Mr. Naruhodo. Officer, you deliver the report now. That will be all, thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo. The scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. I know that voice! Wait, mad? Ah!
deduction.